baller busted. An NBA veteran, Marcus Morris, arrested right here in South Florida for fraud.
But his family says the situation has been really overblown.
It is what it is. Like, I take that on the chin. I'm from North Philly, man. Like, I've been through a lot of tougher, but, I know one thing that I am not, and that's a fraud.
Vegas says fraud. Marcus Morris says misunderstanding. Same paper, 2 readings. Before we pick a side, let's walk the timeline, decode why Nevada treats casino debt like a bounced check, and see how a last-minute payment can cool a case without erasing the lesson. Quick promise, I'll keep this clean, fast, and receipt-driven. Imagine heading to your gate and getting stopped over a warrant from Nevada. That's where this started. In Florida court, the judge didn't offer bond, not because of who he is, but because the case lives in Las Vegas. The math is simple. Either Nevada takes over or the warrants disappear. Otherwise, you sit. It sounds harsh because it is, but it's also how interstate warrants work. That sets the tone for everything that follows. But that wasn't the whole story. Most people think a casino marker is a friendly IOU. In Nevada, it's basically a check. If the casino runs that marker and the account doesn't cover it, the state frames it as check fraud under NRS 205.130. There's even a built-in presumption of intent when the money isn't there at redemption. Translation: what you see as a bill dispute, Nevada treats like a bad check case. That single twist explains the cuffs, the headlines, the no-bond posture, everything. And when you add big numbers, it gets louder. Reports pegged the total around $265,000, split between MGM Grand and Wynn Las Vegas, roughly $115,000 here and $150,000 there from 2024 gambling sessions. Stack those markers, run them through a bank, and if they don't clear, Nevada calls it what the statute calls it. That's why you saw felony-level language across headlines. To regular people, it feels like, just call him and get a payment plan. To the state, the paper bounced. That's the disconnect. So how did Marcus answer that? Not through a PR memo, straight from him. After a long hold, he said he's never been a fraud, called the experience humiliating, and he didn't hide his feelings about Vegas. He also talked about being locked down for about 51 hours.
We're sitting down with Marcus Morris Sr., Philly native. Y'all know Philly's gonna be in the building. NBA vet, known for his toughness, his skill, his outspoken nature. And he's really battled with some of the biggest stars in the game, play with some of the biggest stars in the game. So it is a pleasure to welcome him to Real Talk. How you feeling, man? It's been a crazy week.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hey, I'm feeling good. I'm outside. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling good.
Got the palm trees in the back, sunny.
Yeah, they stay in the back. Yes, sir. You already know.
Yeah. So we gotta just talk about like just what's like the recent days been like for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, people, this is the first thing that they're thinking about right now, obviously. So could you just give the full picture of, what happened in Florida, the airport, and then the aftermath, all of that.
Yeah, like, I ain't gonna lie to you, brother. I don't really, I felt like it was a thing that happened. You know what I mean? I don't really want to like dwell on it or continue to talk about it, right? Like, what I do want to do is more so shine light on just the young brothers that gamble, the older people, the older, mature people that gamble that don't really have a problem, but just understanding all the dynamics of, gambling and being responsible with what you sign and what you receive and making sure that, you pay it back on time because, things like that can happen. It is what it is. Like, I take that on the chin. I'm from North Philly, man. Like, I've been through a lot of tougher shit. But I know one thing that I am not, and that's a fraud. I really could have paid it back on time, and I should have paid it back on time to even having any hiccups like that and things that I'm doing and in my character and in my nature and a lot of people that look up to me and, pursuing career off the court, in the media and things like that. You never want negative press. You never want, people to look at you a certain way. But, we in the world today, man, well, listen, whatever comes out, people gonna have a negative look. People gonna take their own stories. They're gonna run with it however they want to run with it. That's not in my DNA. I'm gonna move forward. I'm gonna keep being me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep going up, and God got His plan for us, and whatever that may be. And again, I just want to shine light on just the younger athletes. Just make sure you're careful with the things that you're doing, and you're protecting yourself and not letting things like that happen to you.
That's his side. Now let's test that feeling against the way Vegas actually runs its playbook. Nevada's machine is cold. Markers equals checks. If the marker doesn't clear, Prosecutors move like it's any bad check file. And with someone out of state, courts tighten up because the forum is Las Vegas, not Florida. Does it feel like a trap to someone who thinks a host should call first? Absolutely. Is it a trap legally? It's the rulebook. That's the gap between vibe and law. And if you're still wondering how a casino voucher turns into felony paperwork, someone who's lived near that edge can explain it cleaner than any statute. Give this 2 minutes. He connects the dots and owns his own mistakes.
As a guy that used to be a big time gambler at casinos, like 4 or 5 years ago, I actually had an addiction in gambling. I actually went up to the casino and signed myself that I would never gamble again. Not that they made me, I did it, right? Like I did it. I was a blackjack type of guy. And what happens with these markers, when you take a marker out from the casino, is basically you're getting a marker and you have 30 days to pay the marker back. If you don't pay the marker back, then it's labeled as quote unquote fraud or you writing a bad check. Because when you go and you take the line of credit, you know that basically what they're saying is you knew that you didn't have the funds. And they recently, over the last 10 years, that they could charge you criminally. Now, I will say this, the casinos don't want to go that route with you unless they feel like you disrespected them. Disrespect meaning lack of communication, or you can call and say, you know what, hey, give me another 30 days and I'll pay the marker off, or give me 6 months and I'll pay the marker down until, or whatever. But if you ignore them, because
they don't come get you.
If you ignored them, they have a problem with you. Because I saw yesterday when he was actually in court, they released it yesterday or 2 days ago.
That's the clarity. Markers aren't play money. They're checks with casino letterhead. Here's the part that flips headlines. A wire for about $291,750 hit, enough to resolve the debts cited by the casinos. Once casinos are made whole, the courtroom temperature drops. You still have paperwork. Dismissals don't magically sign themselves, but the posture moves from chase to cleanup. Calendars showed in August. 6 date floated for tying off formalities. Think of it as pay first, then the system closes the loop. It doesn't erase the arrest, but it softens the landing. But a different debate kept the comments buzzing. Marcus said the jail stretch was 51 hours and that he didn't get food or water. Jail officials pushed back, saying meals were provided and they've got documentation, video to prove it. Two narratives, same timeline. The internet did what it does and picked sides. This is where you, me, and everyone else should zoom out. Some details will always be in dispute, but the legal framework isn't. In Nevada, a marker functions like a check. That's the piece you can't argue with. So what's the actual takeaway? Not the hot take? If a casino hands you a marker in Nevada, treat it like a check you wrote in ink. Know your ceiling. Keep real money behind it. And if something goes sideways, loop a lawyer before this turns into a warrant across state lines. This isn't about being rich or broke, famous or unknown. It's about a law that doesn't blink. Vegas runs on rules, not vibes. This story isn't just about one player. It's about the gap between how regular folks think money disputes should work and how Nevada law says they do work. Hotels comp dinners. Hosts make you feel VIP. Markers get slid across a desk like, no problem. Then a month later, a bank run doesn't match the balance, and suddenly it's not hospitality, it's a criminal file. The setup feeling comes from that bait and switch vibe, but it's not a switch, it's a statute. And that's why these cases blow up, because expectations collide with fine print. So where does this land for Marcus specifically? Post-payment, prosecutors often move to dismiss once every form is signed and the court is satisfied. That's different from, it never happened. The arrest exists. The lesson exists. The receipts live on in the docket. But practically, once the debt is cleared and the casinos aren't out a dollar, the appetite to keep swinging drops. That's why you'll see expected to dismiss talk after wires post. It's not special treatment. It's how these cases typically end when the check finally clears. And if you're an athlete, creator, or anyone flirting with markers, this is the part that matters most. First, assume the marker will be run sooner than you think. Second, if you need a marker to gamble, you probably need a hard limit in writing. Third, don't assume VIP status equals extra grace. Hosts are friendly, statutes are not. Fourth, if there's a dispute, bring in counsel on day one. A 5-minute legal consult is cheaper than a cross-country warrant. None of that is glamorous, but it keeps you out of the news. Was this a setup? or a setup of expectations. Vegas didn't change the rules for Marcus. The rules were already like that. He made his case. The state made theirs. The truth sits in the paperwork, the payment, and the timeline. If you take one thing from this, take this. In Nevada, a marker is a check. That's the rule that never blinks.